Well, there are certain laws of internets, and there are only laws in physics. But insofar as I can find of law internets, is yeah, don't cross the streams. And it's become a weird thing among YouTubers to do this fictional barrier. And it's usually, I'll be totally blunt, it's mainly on the alt right side saying, well, those are my political opinions. That does not affect how I look at Star Wars or whatever, Anakin. You know, so am I kind of a neo-Nazi in my other channel? Well, yeah, but that's okay. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. I guess that's the rules we're playing with. And to be fair, I am not, I want to be fair, not accusing John Campea of being a neo-Nazi. I'm accusing someone else of being a neo-Nazi because they are. So let's get to that. And we're not going to be wrapping up the Serge Delmar, Jenna Miscavige crisis, but we're going to touch upon that too. So let me just get to John Campea first. Why I'm roping him in. And to be fair to Johnny Boy, I'll do more full commentary on my other channel because this is too delicious. So John went to a ballerina event, and no, we're not talking the opera. So he saw the movie and actually was very praiseworthy of it and was like decked out in quite a fine suit. And if you've seen a lot of Campea's videos when he does his theater reactions, well, you know, he's like mainly in a t-shirt or a jacket with a hoodie. Sometimes, you know, he's basically pretty average looking, you know, with sneakers and everything. He's not trying to look fancy, but at this event, he looks really fancy. And someone was really snarky. I said, well, I thought you didn't do premieres. It's a much bigger corruption issue that a lot of critics get invited to free premieres, press screenings, and there's the assumption that you get invited, you should be positive about the film and give out a positive review and say, I recommend the film, go see it, pay the money. And it's gone back and forth if this is basically a corrupt system in disguise. So Campea, who gets accused of being a shill, says, no, I will not go to the premieres or press screenings, Anakin. I'm pure. My Jedi temper is yada, yada, yada. Okay, so John responded. I'm going to read out the response. And I know some people like my voice and hate my voice. I'm not going to do too much of a voice, but it's a little bit of a voice. As I made very clear on the show, I don't accept press invites to anything anymore. I was actually personally invited to this event as a guest, not as press. Okay, so you went to this, it seems like it's the premiere, as a guest, which I assume means what, he knows somebody on the production company? Keanu? Keanu loves Johnny. He says, I love your stuff, guy. Here's a free ticket for you, my friendo. Yeah, probably it's not Keanu. But why else would you be given a guest pass? Also, I'm not going to get into this one in full. It's a whole other clown mess. But Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, we'll put aside that Deadpool is a bit of a stolen character. You know, for channel members, I'll do that. There's a lot of things with Deadpool. But anyway, Rob felt he was being dissed at the Deadpool premiere because they weren't handing out tickets to him. So I'm like, wow, Johnny has got to be really high in the hierarchy to be getting free guest passes. But now let's get to the corruption outside of Hollywood, literally. And we can't call it anti-Scientology. I think I'll settle for neo-Scientology of Serge Delmar and Jenna Miscavige, who are reuniting again, I guess, to destroy the Miscavige family, or a big part of it, because they are not forwarding the comm lines and the new L-Ron, AA-Ron, Smith-Levin field of communication. So for those people really confused, basically Aaron is a very big YouTuber and is going out with Jenna. They are romantic together. Aaron is still married. And put the cherry on top on this one. He said, oh, Aaron, are you going to go to the Father's Day protest? No! I am Aaron's. I will be with my daughters on Father's Day. Will your mistress, Jenna, show up? Will your mistress, who you're cheating on while your wife and you are legally married, is that going to happen too? Who knows? He's quite a father on Father's Day. Anyway, so yeah, it's filled with a lot of finance and sex scandals with these two kids. I'm being metaphoric, but you're going to see the metaphor is going to turn ugly real soon. So Serge has been putting on this weird crusade. And against YouTube, I'm going to keep things very not explicit with some things that are true, some things that are not true, but painting a very dark picture that any child, any underage person, period, what's the standard? 17, 18, I don't know. But anyone below a certain age group in Scientology necessarily is the victim of abuse, right? Now, this sounds a little weird because Serge himself was an auditor, and he's saying auditing is abusive. So he's literally admitting he's committed dozens of crimes, but wants to be taken seriously as a credible, witness, victim? I don't know. It's very strange. And he, well, I guess keeps saying that somehow magically none of his auditing is criminal. That all auditing is criminal. But he's not a criminal. How does that make any sense? I don't know. And Jenna let out that her brother Dustin was audited by Sir. Okay. None of this adds up. And Jenna, to protect herself, keeps going on and on how in Scientology, as an underage victim, she was being physically accosted. And for instance, in one case, apparently, they were holding her down for trying to see her parents, and so on and so forth. Now, as far as I know, she's not alleging anything beyond that, right? She's not alleging that she was, full on taken advantage of in that way. But she does give harrowing stories about how physically it was very taxing for her in Scientology, doing a lot of hard labor, and so on and so forth, and a lot of these harsh punishment. Well, none of this adds up, because if that's the case for you, you would imagine, well, that's the case for Justin, and he was being audited by Sir. So nothing is really adding up here, because then you're implicitly saying Justin is actually the victim of many crimes, right, by Serge, but Serge Delmar is still a good guy. How does that work? I don't know. And you would think from his rhetoric, wow, Serge is really, cares about the children. Guys, don't believe me. Don't believe me. When he left about a decade ago, and do the math, he left Scientology in his 30s. Yes, that's right, in his 30s. So this is a man who's like, the evil nymph, no more children. Oh! So this is a man who claims that dozens and hundreds, if not thousands of children, all the time, everywhere. You go into a Scientology building, you will see for yourself. Everywhere children are being taken into rooms to, things happen to them. Okay? But despite thousands and thousands of these victims, he never came out with one tape, as far as I know, one audio recording, as far as I know, and so on and so forth. So it's amazing that everywhere these rooms are filled with children and the evidence. He didn't find any when he got out of Scientology. Oh, what he was doing in Scientology? Oh, he was hanging out with celebrities like Penny Masterson and his family. Oh, don't worry, it's not just the Mastersons. Serge was hanging out with quite a few of the celebrity Scientologists. Because, he was very much poor little slave in Scientology. But somehow, magically, David Miscavige let him out of his cage and paid him a lot of money as an auditor. And it gets more and more weird because Serge is openly and proudly gay. In fact, he just did a video on a gay pride. And he's also very generous with ideology because apparently he hangs out with Aaron, who's wildly homophobic. Like, so homophobic, he will tell gay jokes to his gay friends in front of their face, and they will laugh. And it's so funny because they were getting money from him. Literally, Nora was getting money from Aaron. So I guess his homophobia was okay because, we're going to sell out the woke cause. Oh, but don't worry. I will give Nora 1 point at least. At least explicitly on camera, she's not pro-Nazi. Now, that might seem like, why are we bringing that in? Because apparently Serge is. Yeah, I'm not joking with you. Serge was explicitly told, like, yeah, someone going to this protest, I think with the Nazi. And Serge was like, I don't really care about that. I don't care about that at all. Alrighty then, though, to be fair, Marilyn, another activist, quotation marks, was also very pro-Nazi and pro-racist, is like, I really don't have a problem with them either. And she's also very pro-gay. So that's the way the game works. And I noticed this in that controversial Marilyn video where Jenna, Aaron, and Liz Gale, in a very drunken fit of rage, threatened a child. Not joking with you, she outright threatened father and a child, as well as an old woman. And it gets even more weird because one of them was a Miscavige family member, although Jenna is also part of the Miscavige family. Yeah, none of this adds up, but Jenna let out that she thinks Sterling, her brother, is a coward. And I guess evidence of his cowardice is he would complain to Aaron when he was on Aaron's fake phony foundation that Nora and others were making him upset by putting out these wild, crazy videos, basically attacking Mike Rinder, first-generation Scientologists, a whole other people, and just creating this very toxic mess. I will say Sterling directly addressed Serge. I want to be fair to Serge, but Sterling directly denied a lot of Serge's story. So Serge and his moronic voice going, on the 8,000, because none of this is true. It's not like you literally step into a old tale of Scientology, and there are endless children put into rooms with old men and women, and they do stuff. Another person has directly contradicted Serge, Tori. Now, to be fair, Liz is doing a lot of propaganda work there. Tori's not denying, obviously, that children, to put it mildly, had a really rough experience, or even in some particular cases, yes, obviously, predatory crimes did occur. Obviously. What she's saying is the picture Serge is painting that every single child, like every single child apparently, underage, is just there to be raw meat for a price, apparently. Apparently they're given menus. And the predators just pick out children and they go into little dark rooms. And this is a 24/7 big hotel for predators. Tori's like, no, that is not what is happening. Like, and she was in Scientology for over 20 years. So for decades, much of what Serge says has not been verified, so we're just lost. And Liz, to try to refine this contradiction, says, well, maybe Tori's lying. Because, people will lie to stay out of jail. It would be devastating if Tori fully knowingly did know that Tom Cruise and Jenna Miscavige took children regularly into little dark rooms and did things. But there's no evidence that Tom Cruise and or Jenna Miscavige took little children into their rooms to, do things. So we're just dealing with a lot of wild accusations from a very unstable customer who's radically inconsistent and has a very dark Hollywood past. Also, final cherry on top, because people keep getting confused here. Was Serge brought into this country through questionable means? I think that's true. And was his passport denied? Well, maybe, maybe not. Here's a problem. His family comes from a rich family, right? Many children imported into Scientology, they're really poor. They're super poor. They have no choice. Serge is someone who's so rich, he can speak multiple languages. And even his English is terrible. So this is a rich kid. I'm sorry, if you leave Scientology as a rich kid, that is not the same as leaving Scientology a poor homeless child who has nowhere to go. Right? Very few skills or anything. No, a guy who is so high in the hierarchy, he has tons of Hollywood friends, is rich, can speak multiple languages. You're not exactly a poor little slave child, in my humble opinion. Just in my humble opinion, you're not 12 years a slave. But call me crazy. But I'll be fair, these are accusations for now, but we'll try to verify the information on both sides. But it's looking a little corrupt. Is it just John Campea corrupt, or something even more sinister? We'll try to figure it out.